Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Yule, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, drop some comments, let us know what it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about a phenomenon that explains what is going on around the world right now. Why there are so many people, it seems, that have bought what is going on in terms of this virus being incredibly dangerous. Well, this is what's been reported by the mainstream news. Why we're seeing so many people wearing these ridiculous masks, wearing protective gear that looks as if they're out of some kind of science fiction movie for a virus that, as far as we're seeing, is producing mortality rates no greater than the flu. And why is it that you ask that people can't see the truth when it seems so obvious to so many of us that what is happening seems like it's not only something out of a science fiction movie in terms of the wool being pulled over people's eyes, but that it's been used to bring about these draconian measures, that there's obviously something more to it, that these measures aren't justified. Well, the reason that people buy into what we're seeing has something to do with, you're familiar with the idea that it's a lot easier to fool someone than it is to convince someone that they've been fooled? Well, that comes down to the idea that once someone buys into an idea, whether that be a religion, an ideology, or information for that matter, they attach to it. They bond to that. And their ego, once they have done that, does not want to accept the fact that they could have been wrong. This is a phenomenon we see in so many aspects of society. In religion, when people are brought up following a particular ideology, and then they find out later on that maybe this isn't right. That people that they trusted, priests that they've trusted, or figures within this religion that they trusted are fooling them. They refuse to see it. They refuse to see it because they've already accepted this notion that they must be good, and the information that they were giving them must be true. Therefore, there's no way that they could question their intentions, their motives, because they've already accepted this idea initially that these people are good, or this information is good. It's a bit of cognitive dissonance, right? It happens because of ego, because people do not want to, whether it is conscious or subconscious, acknowledge the fact that they have been fooled. And it's a stagnant mentality. In order to matriculate to higher levels of awareness and consciousness in life, to grow, to experience an efflorescence of consciousness, the one attribute that you need is the willingness to confront what you are seeing and adapt. If we do not adapt, we do not grow. You look at something. If it works, if it serves you, you use that. If it doesn't, you throw it away. You constantly try different things. You add your own ideas. But if you take on this attitude of trying something, of being exposed to information, and you refuse to accept anything that runs contrary to that, even though you can see with your intelligence, even though your gut, your instincts, your psionic intuition tells you otherwise, if you shut that out and if you allow your ego to cloud your judgment, you will not grow. And this is what we're seeing at the moment. Because initially people bought into this idea that this virus was going to kill millions of people, that it was going to be devastating, and that it was justified to lock everyone down. A lot of people are still attached to this idea. A lot of people, now that they can see that what's going on doesn't seem to be consistent with the measures that are in place. Now, granted, these measures should never be in place, regardless of how bad this virus was, if you believe in the concept of inalienable rights. But look, forget that. Purely from a rational standpoint, I mean, you have to ask yourself this. Is the reason that you were accepting this, deep down, does that have anything to do with the fact that you don't want to acknowledge that you could have been fooled? Because granted, I find that this is the underlying theme at play. When you confront people with the truth, they don't want to accept it. Because subconsciously, the idea of having been fooled is too much. Therefore, your subconscious mind rejects that information, comes up with flawed reasons as to why that information must not be just. The law of first report. It's incumbent upon us, if we truly believe in truth, if we place truth above our ideology. This is something I often say: there is no religion higher than truth. Then we need to start questioning things, regardless of how unpleasant the answer might be. A lot of people did this during the time of 9/11, September 9/11. I remember one of the first conversations I had with a friend who is deeply conscious, deeply involved in a whole bunch of amazing information now. It's opened his mind. And I remember this conversation that I had with him. This is over a decade ago. And he was saying that it was too hard to believe the idea that a government could be involved in doing something as devious, could trick its people like that. Well, that's what governments have done throughout history. But people feel so reluctant to, one, believe the unpleasant truth. Because in order to believe that, they have to acknowledge the fact that, yes, they could have, one, been fooled. And they also need to acknowledge the fact that there are very unpleasant things that go on in this world. And a lot of people, whether it is consciously or subconsciously, would rather stick their head in the soil like an emu. Hear no evil, see no evil. No, man, I don't, no. All there is love. All there is peace, joy. No, the government could never have done a horrible thing like that. No way. There's no way that the government has any motivations that the World Health Organization or Bill Gates or any Illuminati or any dark figures could possibly be orchestrating this, because it's just, what, really? You expect us to believe something like that? I mean, that means that this world is not this beautiful, pleasant thing that I thought it was, where we're all working for the greater good. It's quite. Are you saying that people are actively trying to enslave us, to take away our freedoms, and to milk us emotionally, spiritually, financially? No. Subconsciously, people don't want to see that. It's much easier to accept the lie. It's much easier to accept the initial reality that you bought into, the initial report. But in order to be a conscious being, we need to question our moral certitudes. We need to question our belief systems. We need to question things that we've been exposed to constantly. Oh, I thought this was a great idea, but you know what? It doesn't suit me anymore. I'm gonna reject this. There's nothing. One of the biggest signs of wisdom is to say, I was wrong. Was to say, I don't know. The fact of the matter is, anytime, and I hear so many brilliant people talk about this, they speak about the future as if it's a certitude. We don't know what lies in store for us. There's nothing wrong with saying that, look, I got it wrong. You're acknowledging the fact that there is nothing certain in this life in terms of what is lying ahead. And if you buy into this idea that, oh, there's no way that I could possibly have gotten this wrong, because if I got this wrong, that must mean that I am fallible, and that I now have to acknowledge the fact that I am flawed. If you can't acknowledge that, you can't grow. And this is the current situation that we're involved in. These governments health organizations, people don't want to accept the fact that they got this wrong. Therefore, they continue doubling down and making the situation a lot worse than it is. But in order to really resolve this situation, we need to be focused on the present. We need to be focused on the solution, the issues at hand. And the issue, at least from the perspective that I am seeing things, is that what is going on right now, first of all, should never be happening, period, in terms of a violation of people's rights, human rights. You don't get to say that you're not allowed to leave your home. You're not allowed to have certain God-given rights, regardless of whether or not there is a virus that is killing 99% of people, or whether there's a virus that's killing 1% of people. Now, you either accept that, or you don't believe in the idea of human rights. But more importantly, I would say, at least it's more incumbent upon you to make this realization now, is that you need to have the humility to accept that sometimes we get things wrong. And with that, we must absorb ourselves of new information. We must assimilate different truths. We must reject systems, belief systems, ideas, information that has been given to us, and open our minds to new truths and new realities. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, just something I wanted to discuss that I think explains the psychology of what is going on right now. Let me know what you think. Peace out, keep it real. This is your chocolate Nubian soul brother Chris Shule, signing out. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.